what we experienced with losing a child in late term pregnancy. Um, I just want to say that this is the type of thing that tears a couple apart from the inside out.
Yep. Hey y'all, we back at the table with another episode of Life with Duke and Die. And today we got a sensitive subject we want to talk about and talk about what we went through in this situation.
And how we got through it.
Right.
A lot of couples have experienced losing a pregnancy together, whether that's an early term pregnancy or late term. We just want to talk about our experience and how we kind of got through that. If you have gone through it, I'm sorry. We're no experts. All we could do is share what we've gone through and like
How we handled it.
Help push us ahead to get through that, and then hopefully you could take some pointers or maybe share with us your experience. If you haven't dealt with this, you're blessed. Be thankful. Loss of pregnancy is very common, so let's get into it. So before we get into all the details of what we experienced with losing a child in late-term pregnancy, I just want to say that this is the type of thing that tears a couple apart from the inside out.
Yep.
And some people don't make it through that. I mean, it could be even years after it happens, and you're still not healed as a couple from it. Whether that's the other person was not emotionally available through the experience, or
or
whether,
not helping.
Yeah, infertility played a role after that, and you never bounced back or have another child, which we were blessed to be able to have children after this. But that doesn't happen sometimes, and sometimes couples don't make it through this. So trying to keep the relationship after losing the baby is definitely a task that I don't think people even think about or think through, but it's something that if you're able to do that successfully, that's definitely a win for your relationship.
For sure. Even men, I mean, what we go through when we are actually a parent that wants to be involved.
So, 25 years old, we were freshly married. So, of course, what's the main thing people want to know?
What?
I'm not talking to myself.
I don't know. What the fuck? Maybe you think we would. Well, when the kid comes,
yeah,
I guess.
People want to know.
Like, I don't know.
All right, 25 years old. I'm sitting here like, is he gonna answer? No one knows what's funny because of that part.
Hey, that's a good part. We should have kept it going. Shit. Be real. This is the real. This is the black table.
Okay. So 25 years old, freshly married. Of course, what do people want to know?
When you gonna have the kids?
When the babies is coming.
Right.
I never felt pressure by that because we both had children. We each had one child from previous situationships. In the previous episode, I called them relationships. I'm sorry, I'll correct that here.
For sure.
So both of us had children from previous situationships. So fertility and those types of things were not an issue. It was more about when rather than if. So we are just a few months out from our wedding. Life's great. Everything's going well. We get pregnant. That's
right.
I feel like one of the most amazing gifts you can get in that first year of marriage. So we're excited. We waited that 12 weeks for safety, told our children, had them take pictures on Thanksgiving, shared our little, we're preggo.
Right, because we didn't tell anybody for a while.
Yeah, share our we're preggo announcement, of course, on social media, did all that good fun stuff. So going through this pregnancy with no issues, everything's going well. Dwayne had just started working with my dad a few months prior, and so he was not able to take time or didn't really want to take time or disrupt his work time to attend appointments. So finally, around my 6-month appointment, when it was time for us to find out the gender, Dwayne was able to get some time off and attend his first appointment. So we're excited. We
Right.
got the day off. We're planning to go to the appointment and go eat. We get to this appointment, and the tech is, putting the jelly on my belly. We're all cheesing. It's our first baby together. All I remember
Good
is
times.
the silence. This tech was just silent. And of course, I'm not very patient. So I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? And she's like, oh, I'll have to let the doctor explain it to you. I'm just not able to see as clearly. So in this appointment, the doctor let us know that there was not enough amniotic fluid in the sac, and they were not sure of the cause of it, and then I needed to see the high risk unit, and all these things happened. And so in the midst of that appointment and maybe 5 to 10 days, I was seeing specialists and having to figure out what was going on. Is it the baby's kidneys? Can the fluid be replenished? All these types of different things. So ultimately, we found out that it was in our best interest to terminate the pregnancy.
Right.
And at this point, I was about 27 weeks. I cried the day that I found out, and from there forward, I was just nervous and wanting to figure out what was going to happen. So we ended up getting connected with a doctor named Dr. Hearn in Boulder.
Yep.
At the time, he was the only doctor in Colorado who can legally conduct late-term termination. As far as I know, it's not recommended that you have a late-term abortion, or you cannot find doctors who will do it after 28 weeks. So here we are with like 7 days to make a decision. So we were faced with you can push through with this pregnancy, but when the child is born, it'll experience deformities and may not live more than a few minutes. It's also dangerous for you as the mom, and like puts you at more risk for things to happen during the remainder of the pregnancy. So it was hard because here we are, it's our first child together.
Right. You grow emotionally attached though.
Yeah.
Like you start feeling the kicks. You do see the pictures. So I think there we're definitely attached. Already thinking of what names.
I'm definitely not I'm gonna cry to get through this type of person. I'm like, what's the solution? What happens now? What are we gonna do? And that's been hard for people around me because I've had old friends tell me I'm on autopilot all the time. I've had people just not understand the way that I handle things. But that's just how I am. This is the first time I had dealt with something like this, and I just wanted to know, what do I do now? Because I have other children here.
Right.
I need to make sure I'm going to be safe and healthy. Can I have children going forward? What does this mean? So for me, that's what I was on.
When we didn't know the sex, we were just so happy that we were able to conceive in general
together.
Yeah.
So I think the 7 days between like finding out exactly what was wrong and what our options were, and then making a decision. We went through a lot of stuff there in terms of trying to get everything figured out. So we had to rearrange stuff for our other 2 children, get a hotel, and plan to go to Boulder for what was supposed to be a 3 to 4 day procedure. So we made the arrangements that we needed to make, took off work for the week. We were expected to be there for about 4 days. Got a hotel, hit the road early morning, I believe it was a Tuesday, and it was raining.
Yep.
And I remember getting there, and the first thing that you have to do at Dr. Hearn's office is have a counseling session, because this is a major deal. So they want to check you out, and they want to make sure that you're even eligible to have the procedure, and then they want to make sure that mentally you're okay. So one of the first things that's required when going through with a late termination of a pregnancy through Dr. Hearn's office is that you have to go to counseling, and in that first counseling session, they just make sure that you're good and just talk through any feelings you may be having. Of course, I was like, I don't need that. I just need to get this over with, but I'm so grateful we did. So on the first day of the procedure, going through counseling before I had anything done to me. The counselor asked just about what I was worried about. And I remember responding, what do I tell people? What do I say? Um, Not just like to our kids, because we hadn't told them anything. I mean, we just got them squared away and went to Boulder. Like I said, we had like a 7-day time frame to make a decision, which is not a lot of time when you're walking around and you're um, 27 weeks pregnant and should be planning your baby shower. So the counselor responded to me after listening and was like, you can't take care of other people if you haven't taken care of yourself. And I took a lot from that. She let me know that I can't handle other people's emotions and help them through it. I got to cope with it myself. She told me I can't really help other people cope and get through it emotionally until I've done that myself. That it's okay to tell people on my time. And I hadn't thought of that. You know, we're in this social media, everything moves fast, everything's perfect type of world. So, of course, I'm thinking I need to write this announcement or make this emotional post. Like, I've seen a lot of people do that. And the approach that she told me about was great for me because it really matched up with my personality. Like, I do believe in self-care before trying to help everybody else. So I remember talking to Dwayne about it, and I was like, so what do we do? And you kind of just were like, we ain't got to tell nobody. Actually, when we leave here, let's take a trip.
Right.
We ain't got to tell nobody until we're ready.
I always feel as if you can't help me, then why do I need to tell you? I mean, you're not going to lay down. You're not going to pay for it. There's no reason to tell anyone. I mean, eventually, I don't know. I just always stand on not telling people if they're not willing or they're able to help. I mean, it's nobody's business about what we're going through, and especially with something that's so sensitive. So the people who knew were the people that we have in our corner and all the things that are important to us. That's just how I think about telling people.
So this is where it gets deep, unless it is already deep. Day one, like I said, you go through the counseling, all the information. They take seaweed and place it in the cervix to allow you to start dilating, and that should take about 3 days, is what I was told. And then they give you a shot that stops the baby's heart from beating. So all of that was dramatic because what's ultimately going to happen is the baby's going to pass away prior to the procedure. So over those next few days, you know, they explain, you know, you'll stop feeling kicking, you'll stop feeling movement, and then, you know, you'll basically give birth. So that was traumatic for me because I was like, what the fuck? I'm about to walk around with a dead baby. I kept saying that to myself, and I just was like, I just want this over with. So I went through the first part of that procedure the first day, and then we went out to eat. I had my first alcoholic beverage after 7 months because they told me, you know, go relax, do whatever's relaxing for you, you know, take care of yourself. We'll see you tomorrow for the second part of the procedure. Well,
We didn't make it through the night, I don't think.
we didn't make it through the night. So I remember waking up in so much pain. It was like I was about to give birth, like I'd done the first time. So I just was like, this is just terrible. I was like rolling around crying. Before I knew it, Dwayne was on the hotel floor, asleep, off and on, and I was on the bed just rolling around. And I remember in that moment feeling like this is like the hardest test we've ever been put through. You know, in the moment, of course, with the pain there, it was about the child and like the loss of the child. But my heart was just like, this is a husband. This is what marriage is. Like, literally sticking by one another's side through something that's so traumatic and so just painful mentally and physically that once you go through like the bodily effects, you're left with your life partner. And now I understand what a life partner is. And I just remember having those feelings while laying there in pain. I thought, I was like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna have this baby. I don't know what's happening, but it was like the most painful thing ever. So
Yeah, I remember you just having contractions, I believe it was, and only thing I can do is just hold you and just be there for you. I mean, I can vividly picture it. Even the smell of the hotel room at the time. It was like, now that we're talking about it, it definitely was a strange. It was a strange place that day, that morning, that early morning, because it was like 3 in the morning for hours. While it rained for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
That's what even made it more like, they say when it rains it pours, and that day it was pouring because we were losing something that we had a a a bond with, and hasn't even met this person.
Something we created together.
Right. Young.
So it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and that wasn't supposed to be happening. So we called the emergency line for Dr. Hearn's office.
Mm-hmm.
They, of course, were like, "What? Like, you're having contractions?" And I was like, "No, I'm positive." Because they're like, "Are you sure? Is it, could just be some pain?" I was like, "No." So we drove back to the office as instructed. But this time it's like 5, 6 in the morning. As we're pulling up to his clinic, there are people outside with signs telling me, "You don't have to do it. You don't have to terminate your pregnancy. Jesus loves you. God is real. Um, don't do this. You're stronger than this. You're going to go to hell." I mean, we heard all of it.
Oh yeah, they were standing on top of cars. I mean, it I was furious because they didn't know the reason why my wife was there.
Yeah.
It was like, you don't even know what this woman is going through. It's not like it was a personal, like, something that we wanted. Like, let's just go have an abortion today. It was actually something that we didn't want, but we were just told that if this baby was to live, he would live with some type of deformity. And my personal thinking is, why bring somebody into this world to struggle? And there's already a struggle. The world is just, look at it. We're walking around with masks on.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not a. I just felt like it wasn't the right thing to do.
And as a reminder, we weren't sure if there was going to be a deformity. We were actually told that it was like a 93% chance that the child wouldn't breathe past the first 5 minutes of life. So I think it was the right decision. Like, even thinking back, I would have done the same thing over. So after those people were protesting in the front, the nurses came out. They were so great. They came and helped me inside. I looked so crazy. I think I had my pajamas on and some slides. I just looked crazy. And they got me straight in, checked me out. They were like, "Yeah, you're fully dilated and you need to have this procedure done right now. We've never seen this before." It was less than 24 hours. It's supposed to take 3 days for that to happen. And my body was just over it. I think spiritually that's connected somehow with my mental because, like I said, I'm always like, let's get this done. Let's get through this. And my body kind of worked in that same way. So yeah, that was hurtful for me too with the protesters outside. And now I have a special place in my heart for moms who have to make these kinds of decisions, even if it's voluntary, because I feel like you don't know what people are going through and you can't judge people for their life when it really ultimately doesn't impact you anyway. So anyway, it was a smooth procedure. It was very scary. I was told following right after that the placenta the baby was in was sick, and that I definitely made the right decision. And that was comforting to know that, like, I made the right decision, because of course you're living with that fear of, like, did we do the right thing? Like, of course I'm Googling stuff like low amniotic fluid, seeing success cases where some parents had babies with low amniotic fluid and their baby came out fine. So of course, you're always going to doubt yourself and your decision. So it was just good to hear that we made the right decision in the end.
Right.
Also, Dwayne was not allowed to be with me during the procedure, so that was hard. He had to wait in some strange basement. It was just the weirdest thing. It was like some real Boulder shit.
It was the waiting part. I've waited in hospital rooms, but this was like, man, the smell of it was
unforgettable.
it was like a old. It was just old. You can just smell the books, the magazines, the life that's passed through, because as I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is strange. They got old magazines from 5 years ago sitting there for you to read. And then you're sitting and there's like a young lady, young girl, like little girls, like
She was like 10 years old, right?
man,
There was a 10-year-old girl in the waiting room
yes,
that in a late term abortion clinic. Like she was
it was
far along as well, and that was very sad. Her and her mom were there.
right. There was, I believe, I may have overheard. There was people from different parts. Like these little girls came from different parts of the world because of this Dr. Hearn was the only person that would do it. I believe in the Western Hemisphere or wherever, whatever, wherever we're at. But there was definitely some. I seen some things just sitting there. Multiple, 13, 16. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like you shouldn't judge people by what they're gonna do with their body. You can't tell a woman in general what to do with their body. I mean, you don't know the situation. These young girls may have been in a rape case, or and they just can't take it. But sitting there definitely helped me with knowing that it's okay to be okay with people who do. I guess I don't have a religion also to go off of. I think that's what a lot of people go off of, is what they believe religiously.
And I think the older we get, we're figuring out that religion is just love and doing what's best for you and allowing people to do what's best for them. And so I think this played a major role in where we stand now as far as just religion and beliefs and letting people just do them. So all this happened within 24 hours, which was amazing, which was just right for me because I personally was dreading the whole 3 to 4 day delayed thing. Like that doesn't work for me mentally. So my mom drove to Boulder to be with us that night, and that was amazing. I mean, she brought food and just a goodie bag. I mean, I'll never forget her presence there, and it made such a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she brought us. Yeah, she definitely she brought us food. Brought you, as she does all the time, little nicks and knacks, and socks.
Yeah.
It could be anything randomly. Just to help out, and I definitely can see where that helped Diana under just this that extra person that can walk you through this and just let you know that you're not alone.
Yeah. All of this to say that the procedure when if you're ever in an instance where you're losing a child, I feel like that part goes so quick. What's left though? You're left with, I mean, you're driving home, no longer pregnant. The plans, the baby shower, the announcements, the people that are expecting it. I mean, all those things are coming with you in your bag. You have to figure out what you're going to do with all that. So when you do have a partner in this situation, it's how do you heal and deal with yourselves? And just like that counselor told us, it's so important to get back right, healthy and happy at home, and then deal with the outside world. That would be my main suggestion. And I think because we really did that work is the reason why I'm not sitting here needing tissue today. I feel completely healed. I feel like I've even found deeper meaning and understanding as to why that experience happened for me. And I say for me, not to me, because I feel like I grew a lot from it. I had no idea that I was going to be a NICU parent a year later, or, that I'd have other things happen that made me stronger for. So, looking back, I think the main blessing that came from that situation is it brought us closer. It was our first traumatic experience as a young married couple, and I think we conquered it. I think we did really well. It was really tough while going through it, but I think we took the right steps.
I mean, from my perspective and what I've encountered during this situation was confusion. Yeah, that procedure, that drive, the whole process of even getting this set up was tough for me personally. I mean, I was scared, one, for Diana. Two, I think Diana again, because I was more scared for the health of her, to get through this, or just to come up out of the room from actually having the procedure. I mean, you hear stories of women not making it, or some kind of complication, blood clot, whatever. I mean, it was definitely, that trip to Boulder was, I didn't talk about it, but it was definitely something that was implanted into my mind because of the severity of the situation. A kid I never met, or my wife.
After saying vows, just shortly before this happening, better or for worse, sickness and in health, actually having experienced deep stuff together and get through it is major.
For sure. Being able to support your partner while, this is going on in your relationship, in your life, in your family, balancing this situation and even happiness, finding happiness with a situation like this. I mean, it's definitely sad times, but you also got to be strong for one another, or you'll definitely, you'll feel the the bad that it could possibly bring towards you and your spouse.
I think it's important that your partner, as a woman going through any similar issue, to have a partner who's um, responsive rather than reactive. I remember moments of me freaking out, and Dwayne was just like, "What do we need? What do we need to do? How do we stay calm?" Especially the night when I was dealing with the unforeseen going into labor early. I also think it's important that you communicate and that you're open about what you need. Um, I'm extremely independent, so that kind of forced me to be like, yes, I do need help. This is how you can help me, which has been, I think that was like the opening to that in our relationship. Although we'd already been together for a few years, this was still new.
Oh yeah. I mean, personally, from a man's point of view, I think that I mean, if your spouse or somebody is going through something like this, giving words of affirmation, um, asking how to help, and sometimes not even asking. I mean, you got to know your partner.
I
I
was gonna
mean,
say, please don't
there's
ask me because I.
there's definitely times where a woman also, they don't want to be piggyback off of, even though we try to do what's right. I mean, sometimes you just got to follow your instinct and just be like, hey, I tried, but le- I'm just trying to help you out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if that's how the cookie crumbles or whatever, but definitely just being there for her. I mean, she's definitely gonna need some support. I mean, just support for sure. It doesn't even matter what kind, how. Just make sure that you're there for them, mentally, physically, emotionally. Just be there.
So, leaving Boulder, like I was saying, with us just our bags, no baby, and really felt like nothing but news. Like I had to come back here and tell my grandma what happened, and talk to the kids, let the kids know, hey, your baby brother, because it was a boy, got sick and we were not able to have him. That was tough because the boys were very young,
Hmm.
and they were disappointed, but you know, we got past it. Um, we took the counselor's advice and took care of us. We didn't announce anything on the internet. If you weren't in our close circle, you didn't really know what was going on, and that was perfect for me because I felt like I didn't have to console everybody and sorry for your loss. This is so sad, because then you start to feel like, well, now I have to help you cope, because now you're sad that I'm sad, or now you're displaying feelings of care, and now I have to be responsive and I need to take care of me. So
Right.
we definitely booked the first trip to Cabo, Mexico, where we went for our honeymoon, and that was like a couple weeks after we got back. And we went and sat at our favorite resort in Mexico and ate and had drinks and just really enjoyed ourselves and just regrouped as a couple and just talked about how we want our next pregnancy
Yep.
to go, and like just we're trying to be hopeful and heal. That for me really helped me to come back and feel stronger.
That definitely helped. We needed it. I mean, just to sit there on the beach with,
Our emotions.
yeah, emotions and not really owing anybody anything. Only people we really owe is ourselves, and that small circle of people that that held us down. The people that sent flowers, the people who was there to help Diana through it, not just really
Mm-hmm.
asking questions, but just like, hey, you need anything, you all right, but more so not the burdening type of help. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was definitely some people out there who had a lot to say, didn't even know what they were speaking on, but when they seen that we took a break for ourselves, mind you, we don't really let too many people bother us. I mean, if we did, then people would probably they'd be getting beat up left and right. But
Yeah. So, I actually I'm glad you brought that up because I really appreciated my friends during that time. None of my friends asked what I needed. I mean, there were flowers at my door. Phoenix's teacher, brought me a plant, and um, my best friend took me out painting and just sent me, the invite. So people that know me, that know us, knew what we needed, and
mhm,
that was really appreciated at that time.
for sure,
Um, so Mexico was amazing. We ended up making Cali out there. It was crazy because I don't know why I just knew. We ended up having our first child
together,
together out there
and it happened to be
in
a girl.
Mexico. We went out there to go regroup, got pregnant again, came back 2 weeks later, we were pregnant. So that felt like a blessing, to be able to turn around and still have another child. Of course, after that procedure being so invasive, I was like, are we going to be able to have a child together? Like, do people really get blessed like this? Do you really get to go through this experience and then turn around and have a healthy pregnancy or a healthy child? And we're blessed to be able to have had that. So it's
Yep.
definitely important to take the proper steps to keep your relationship and do the maintenance for that after losing something so sensitive.
Right, but I do want to say this though. That's another form of mental health. If you're not getting the people around you to help you, get through it, but you just find somebody to talk to, or write it down. There's somebody out there that'll listen.
Take a trip, take a break.
Right. I
Don't
mean,
tell the internet.
take a drive. I mean, because the internet only makes it worse. Because then you got people making up shit, people wanting to know shit that ain't even that don't really care. They just want to know. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There was a lot of that. There was a lot of like little speculations because they seen us or they seen Diana, maybe having a drink, but we didn't say nothing. So they didn't know. Oh, well, she's drinking and she's supposed to be pregnant, but it was just like, who gives a shit? Like, it ain't none of your business. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
It's still understandable though, because if I seen a chick who was 7, 8 months pregnant, and then all of a sudden she is on social media having a drink, what are people supposed to think? However, if you know me and you trust that I'm a good person or a good mom, then you should know. Oh, maybe something happened before you go like run your mouth. But
Right.
common sense is not so common anymore. So I always expect the unexpected.
For sure.
So.
But this definitely was something that helped us even be the couple that we are today.
Mhm.
It helps in a good way, but also the memories that we had to get here is another reason why I don't think I could choose another person to do this life with.
Yeah.
Because it was her even going through this to have my kid. It was like, damn, she could have been like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, or we ain't gonna have none. I'm scared, but just to show that she's just a true rider, like that's how you want to put it in the hood terminology. But definitely, she kept it up and just kept moving and was willing to just be like, let's try again.
Mhm.
You know,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it definitely on my end, like I said, looking up that night and seeing you lay on the floor by my side, it was like, I'm not going through this alone. I'll no longer go through anything by myself that I can't handle because I do have a partner who loves and truly cares about me. Like, it's not about the baby. Like, we're not together for the baby. We're not together for any other sort of trapped situation. It's literally partnership and going through and getting through one challenge at a time. And
sure.
that was our first hard traumatic experience, and it helped me to see that we can get through anything together. So the wedding, the dinner, the bachelorette parties, all that stuff is literally a show. The real stuff starts in marriage itself, and sometimes a little bit before. But I love that this experience opened our eyes. I'm grateful that we got to go through it and get through it together, and that we can speak on it today, and still have two beautiful children of our own. All that's a blessing. And I wish that same thing for everybody.
Right.
Losing a pregnancy at any stage is hard. Late term was definitely like, what the fuck? Didn't even know this existed. Didn't know people were going through this. So I'm glad we got to touch on this with y'all, and I'm glad we made it through without needing tissue. I feel like we're genuinely healed, not on autopilot. Just have moved forward from it. This was about 6 years ago, and I feel like I'm informed and know enough now about how to get through stuff like that, so that I'm not like breaking down talking about it. Like I said, it's just something that happened for me, and I got through it and learned lessons that came with it. So, anyway, thank y'all for tuning in.
Thanks for subscribing and liking, tapping in with Life with Duke and Die, and we look forward to y'all checking out the next one, episode 5, coming at y'all, man. Tap in with us, subscribe, like. There you go.